Calling to order the Cuyahoga County Council regular meeting for Tuesday, February the 26th. Clerk, please call the roll.
Calling the roll, Ms. Conwell. Here. Mr. Jones. Here. Ms. Brown. Here. Ms. Stevens. Present. Ms. Simon. Here. Ms. Baker. Here. Mr. Miller. Here. Mr. Tuma.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher. Here. Mr. Schron. Here. Council President Brady.
Here.
There is a quorum.
Thank you. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Under silent meditation, I want to have a moment of silence and acknowledge the passing of the mother of the executive and the daughter of our clerk. So. Thank you. Is there any public comment?
Yes, Mr. President. First is Keith Wilson.
Hi, my name is Keith Wilson. I'm a Cuyahoga County resident. Today I'd like to address something about the county jail that I don't think has been discussed enough. The coalition to stop the inhumanity at the county jail has brought demands about reforms that can be carried out in order to assure that more harms are not perpetrated upon the people in the jail. And I think that's an essential moral component to addressing harm that's been done. But there's another moral component that's essential to have a moral response to having done harm, and that's restitution. That means repairing the harm that's been done. And so I want to introduce the idea of reparations. The people who are still in the jail, every day that they're in there, are incurring a moral debt upon this county. And I think that for the most part, the people in that jail, many of whom have not been convicted of a crime, are not worth keeping in the jail any longer and incurring further moral debt, especially when that moral debt includes requirement to pay reparations. And this cost is going to build. I don't know if council intends to have a moral response and to pay reparations, but if you do, that financial cost is building up, and I recommend that you look into releasing prisoners who don't pose any threat to people, and that should be done as soon as possible, in addition to adopting the demands of the coalition. Thank you.
Next is Jacqueline Chavez.
Hi, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Jacqueline Chavez. You may recognize me from the January 22nd meeting. I told the story of the conditions that I encountered during my incarceration at the county jail 4 years ago for a nonviolent misdemeanor. I am going to do my best to respect the 3-minute time here and will only briefly mention important points of my previous speech, but for those who were not here January 22nd, I did personally experience absolute inhumane conditions at the jail. I understand that my comments about the red zone procedures and confinement were not taken lightly, and I was very pleased to hear that funds were allocated to hire more correction officers so that inmates would not have to experience the 9 hours a day of confinement in the so-called red zone, as I did. Still, inmates do not have anywhere near acceptable proper physical or mental health care and may need their prescriptions. I do wish to reiterate my previous hopes that the county will be able to build a drug treatment and mental health facility. Inmates with nonviolent offenses can go there to address the underlying issues which led them to ultimately commit and be incarcerated for their crimes in the first place. This would lead to a lower number of inmates in the current facility, which I believe is vital to implementing positive changes in the jail. The county should be responsible for providing every resident charged with the crime or displaying high-risk behaviors due to mental illness sufficient care. Cuyahoga County residents desperately need easy access to sustainable mental health care. I cannot stress this enough. A facility needs to be built because there are simply not enough facilities in our cities to alleviate this. That is why I spent an extra 2 months in jail. I was being held waiting for a bed to go to treatment. The place that I went was publicly funded and state funded. It was called the Community Assessment and Treatment Services, and it could be used as a model for a proper dual diagnostic treatment facility. It was effective treatment for me and many others. I received adequate and effective treatment for my drug addiction and my diagnosed conditions of generalized anxiety and depression. So there are things, though, that can be done and changed today to help the current inmates with their issues, and it would not cost the county nothing. I did my homework and looked into what it would acquire for a volunteer such as myself to bring Alcoholics Anonymous meetings to the jail, as well as much needed group therapy sessions. If interested, which many people are in volunteering at the jail, they must go through a PREA training first. I understand that this training for education of the Prison Rape Elimination Act of 2003 consists of watching a half-hour or so video on the subject. Then a volunteer can be certified to conduct helpful group meetings for inmates. This training is only offered 1 day out of the month, and I could not successfully reach the jail's volunteer coordinator for that information. When I called the warden's office, the very kind secretary did not know that day would be held. She wouldn't know until the day before, so you have to keep calling and maybe get that day. It would also cost the county nothing to make sure inmates, especially with more correction officers now, could provide the opportunity to go to indoor rec. There is a sizable indoor recreation room on every floor for the inmates to get some exercise and at the very least breathe fresh air. It was very helpful to my mental health to breathe fresh air through the window on the gym. I've tried to keep up with the council meeting agendas, and it's shocking to me. For one example, $1.5 million were allocated to Fatheads Brewery. There will always be enough hipsters in this county to consume their IPAs and sustain the leisurely attraction. Those funds could have been used to provide vital services to the jail or greatly, immensely improve the conditions of the homeless shelter right here downtown. The council should be held responsible for conditions and safety at the homeless facility. All residents of Cuyahoga County, incarcerated or not, should receive adequate access to physical health care, mental health care, housing, drug treatment, rehabilitation, and other vital social services. The responsibility for providing the people with these services should not only lie in the state or the federal government. In County Executive Armand Budish's February 15th address to the public, he directly quoted saying, "There should be no questioning your minds about your county government. What we do is so important for the health and safety of everyone. I am in this office to improve the lives of people across the county." So I ask Mr. Executive Budish and Council, can we see some of those actions now? We have a crisis in this county, and it is not going to end until you actually do something to fix it. Until major changes are implemented, I will still be here advocating for those changes, and so will the people behind me.
Next is Ms. Liu.
Good evening. Please look at this bag. All of you have received photo this morning, and you will see this bag in the photos. It's this exact same bag with the same items in there compared to the photo. Earlier, I mentioned about the deja vu we have to get in the homeless shelter. This bag is counted as one bag. If you see the other photo, which was posted on the door, it says downsizing. You can have either one bag or two bags, or one bag and a tote, in addition to the locker. However, my photos will show you, by comparison, for my backpack, which is in the photo, my own backpack, was actually counted 1 when they came to inspect the room I stay in. So I was threatened again. Since I have 1 bag, all the bags with my paper documents, all each one considered as 1. Not the same as they posted on the door. In that case, I could not have any of my belongings. The photos will show you, even the backpack you put it full, it can still be even put in a tote. Plus, the backpack actually goes out with me. It's not something I stored inside of the locker or tote at all time. When I come out for school, for meetings, I have my backpack and maybe paper documents. Right now, it has my glove and those stuff in there. So, this downsizing actually created a very strange situation. When I asked for the explanation, they actually told me they were told people should downsize to the degree that if they are out of a shelter, that means if we are kicked out of the shelter, we can leave with all our belongings. That's not what's stated on the paper either. That's the reason why lots of people got in trouble with the staff. On that particular day, I was threatened again. If I did not allow them to throw out my stuff, they will ask me out. So now, I have been threatened to be kicked out many times. First time, when I told you guys, it was for something I had no idea. I did not know the incident before I got into the lobby. Then I got threatened I will be kicked out because I was trying to use a restroom which to fit my size. Now, I will get kicked out just because I separate the bags to put my belongings. They will still fit in the locker. However, I cannot have any of them. This is a homeless shelter we have here. If you expect our shelter to actually do what they should do as a functional place, this will never happen. Because seriously, we have a very big flaw. Service provider cannot control their employees. How should we deal with that? Just like county jail, drug treatment centers, all the people getting mistreated and abused. Thank you.
No one else is signed in.
I'd like to have a motion to approve the minutes as printed on the agenda for February the 12th, 2019 Committee of the Whole and February the 12th, 2019 regular meeting.
So move.
Second.
Second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, the ayes have it. The minutes have been approved. Is there a message from the county executive?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank you for acknowledging the passing of my mom, and I want to thank the members of council for their expressions of sympathy and condolence. It means a lot in a tough time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Legislation introduced by council, consideration of resolutions of council for first reading and referral to committee.
Resolution number 2019-0051, adopting various changes to the Cuyahoga County non-bargaining classification plan.
And this will be referred to Human Resources.
Resolution 2019-0052, adopting various changes to Cuyahoga County non-bargaining salary schedules A and B.
This will also be referred to HR. Committee report and consideration of a resolution of council for second reading.
Resolution number 2019-0038, reappointing Deborah Southerington to serve on the Cuyahoga County Personnel Review Commission for the term 3/8/2019 through 3/7/2025.
And this item will move to the March 12th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption. Consideration of a resolution of council for third reading adoption.
Resolution number 2019-0023, adopting the 2019 through 2033 Solid Waste Management Plan Update for the Cuyahoga County Solid Waste Management District.
Move to adopt.
Been moved and seconded.
Mr. President and Council, this matter was heard in the Environment Sustainability Committee, which we heard from Diane Bickett from Solid Waste Management. Every 5 years, the solid waste plan has to be updated, and it's a lengthy process which requires a majority of all the municipalities to approve the management amendment. And Council heard the plan and recommended that Council and the county approve it as well, and then we'll be waiting for all the municipalities. So we ask that you support this, or I do.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it. The resolution is adopted. Committee report and consideration of an ordinance of council for second reading.
Ordinance number 2019-0002, amending section 208.01 of the county code to provide for the periodic appointment of the Cuyahoga County Citizens Advisory Council on Equity.
On this item, we'll move to the March 12th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption. Consideration of an ordinance of council for third reading adoption.
Ordinance number 2019-0001, enacting Chapter 809 and amending Section 704.01 of the County Code to establish the Cuyahoga County Housing Program.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. This housing program is an important step in a community-wide effort to revitalize our neighborhoods and increase the availability of high-quality, affordable housing. This program will rehabilitate vacant and abandoned homes. It will help homeowners keep their houses up to code, and it will facilitate responsible private development. I'd like to thank the County Land Bank and Ken Surratt and the county's Community Development Division for partnering with us on this initiative. This legislation would not have come together without their knowledge and expertise. We are looking forward to working with them and designing and implementing this program over the coming year. I would also like to thank the county's housing stakeholders for their work in developing the county's housing plan. I know this legislation does not directly address all the policy objectives that some would like to have seen, but it is important to remember that this is only one step along the way, and it's my expectation that this council will continue to work to find more ways to address matters of housing insecurity. I believe this legislation is a positive step to stabilizing neighborhoods throughout the county. And I'd like to particularly thank Khalil Sarin and Michael King for the work that they've been doing on this legislation for the last 6 months, along with everybody else. And I want to thank my colleagues for embracing this legislation. This is really only one example by how working together, this council can accomplish significant improvements to the quality of life in Cuyahoga County.
Mr. President,
Councilman Miller.
I would just like to commend the council president for his leadership on this legislation, and it is just hugely important given that employment, health care, and housing are three such vitally important pillars of social security in our county, and housing is one of them, and it's important that we have a program specifically dealing with this issue. And I would just add that we all know what the county's financial challenges are, particularly with the loss of $27 million a year in annual revenue from the loss of Medicaid sales tax. And I think for us to start a new program, given the financial difficulties, is indicative of our very high level of commitment to taking effective action to improve housing in Cuyahoga County. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Simon.
Thank you, Council President, and everybody who took leadership with this. One of the main objectives when coming into this new government was the role of the county in supporting municipalities and helping with regionalization of programs. Given that the state has significantly cut local government funds, it was really important that we be able to step in as much as we were able. Obviously, we can't pick up the slack entirely, but this is an example of supporting our communities and allowing them to survive and at best start to get out of the mortgage foreclosure crisis. So I really appreciate this legislation, and I think it's really important, goes a long way. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Jones.
I'd just like to emphasize the fact that this has been a long-term plan. We put $50 million towards demolition over the last 5 to 6 years, and now $30 million over the next 6 years to rehab homes. So we are, your county is at work in putting the dollars back into the community.
Thank you. All right. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. The ordinance is adopted. Legislation introduced by the executive. Consideration of resolutions for first reading adoption under suspension of the rules. I'd like to have a motion to suspend the rules. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it. The rules have been suspended.
Resolution number 2019-0053, amending the 2018-2019 biennial operating budget for 2019 by providing for additional fiscal appropriations from the general fund and other funding sources for appropriation transfers between budget accounts and for cash transfers between budgetary funds.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President and my colleagues, this resolution is the regular monthly fiscal agenda. OBM's responses to our questions are provided on your desk. Most of the items are routine appropriations, grant appropriations, closure of accounts, and transfers. 3 items are worthy of special mention. There is new previously unbudgeted appropriation of $500,000 for planning services for the Justice Center project. This is in addition to the owner's representative contract that we previously approved. There are also appropriations from the excise tax fund, commonly known as sin tax, for our sports facilities of $6.7 million for debt service on the excise tax bonds and $7.8 million for excise tax funded improvements. Note that only $235,000 remains from the excise tax bond sale, meaning that essentially all future excise tax improvements going forward will have to be paid for from future revenues from the excise tax. Finally, there is an appropriation of $432,000 for the Veterans Services Fund for 2019. Of this, $419,000 comes from the 2018 unspent balance from the Veterans Service Commission, and $19,000 comes from the year-end carryover balance from the Veterans Service Fund. Compared to prior years, this is at least an average amount and perhaps somewhat above average. I recommend passage of the resolution on first reading suspension with one amendment. Several colleagues have requested further discussion on item AX from section 1 on the temporary legal services, and therefore I move to delete that item from this resolution. If the amendment is approved, we will hear that item next Monday at Finance and Budget Committee. Thank you.
I'll second your motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it. And we'll be sending the deleted part to the Finance Committee meeting. And Councilman Miller, I know we do this at the end of the meeting, but when are you planning on having that meeting?
It will be this coming Monday at 1 o'clock at our usual time slot.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. President, we approve the amendment, but I would suggest the need for a motion on the entire item on its merits.
So moved. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it. Resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 2019-0054, approving an amendment to a collective bargaining agreement between Cuyahoga County and International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 18, representing approximately 8 employees in the classifications of heavy machine operator and construction backhoe operator at the Department of Public Works for the period 1/1/2019 through 12/31/2021, to establish terms of the healthcare insurance reopener and to modify Article 26.
Move to adopt. Second. This item was discussed in the executive session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it. Resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 2019-0055, approving an amendment to a collective bargaining agreement between Cuyahoga County and American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Ohio Council 8, Local 2927, AFL-CIO, representing approximately 2 employees in the classification of process server at the Sheriff's Department.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved and seconded. This item was also discussed in executive session. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, the ayes have it. Resolution is adopted. Consideration of resolutions for first reading and referral to committee.
Resolution number 2019-0056, confirming the county executive's reappointment of Karen Gabriel Moss to serve on the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority Board of Trustees for an unexpired term ending 2/28/2022.
This will be referred to Human Resources and Appointments.
Resolution number 2019-0057, making an award on requisition number 44223 to Katz Construction in the amount not to exceed $3,068,000.05 for resurfacing of Warrensville Center Road from Broadway Avenue to the Maple Heights North Corporation line in the cities of Bedford and Maple Heights.
And this will be referred to Public Works.
Resolution number 2019-0058, making an award on requisition number 44237 to Shermer Construction in the amount not to exceed $874,400 for replacement of Adele Lane Culvert and Westwood Lane Culvert over a creek to west branch of Rocky River in the village of Olmsted Township.
This will also be referred to Public Works.
Resolution number 2019-0059, authorizing an amendment to contract number CE 1500299 with Halley Industrial Park for lease of space located at 1890 East 40th Street, Cleveland, for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $450,000, effective on 10/1/2017.
Public Works.
Resolution number 2019-0060, authorizing the vacation of a certain portion of Warrensville Center Road located in the city of Shaker Heights in connection with intersection improvements.
This will also be referred to Public Works.
Resolution number 2019-0061, making awards to various municipalities and nonprofit organizations in a total amount of $1 million for various projects or programs in connection with the 2019 Community Development Supplemental Grant Program.
And this will be referred to Community Development.
Resolution number 2019-0062, authorizing the execution and delivery of a first supplemental bond purchase agreement for $11,955,000, County of Cuyahoga, Ohio, Economic Development Revenue Refunding Bonds, Series 2014, the Cleveland Hearing and Speech Center Project.
And this will also be this will be referred to Economic Development.
Resolution number 2019-0063, authorizing an amendment to various contracts with various providers for community-based services to support at-risk children and families in Cuyahoga County to extend the time period to 3/31/2020 and for additional funds.
And this will be referred to Health and Human Services.
Resolution number 2019-0064, authorizing a contract with the Salvation Army in the amount not to exceed $538,467 for the Past Rapid Rehousing Program for single adults.
And this will also be referred to Health and Human Services. Committee reports and consideration of resolutions for second reading adoption under suspension of the rules. Could I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, the ayes have it. The rules are suspended.
Resolution number 2019-0035, authorizing a revenue-generating agreement with City of East Cleveland in the amount not to exceed $818,000 for Cuyahoga Emergency Communication Systems Emergency Dispatch Services for the period 6/1/2019 through 5/31/2022.
Move to adopt.
Second.
And, Mr. President, this is what it says here in the text. This will be taking over the dispatch duties from East Cleveland and folding them into ours. It was heard in safety, and we give a recommendation of adoption.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it. The resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 2019-0036, authorizing a contract with Federal Express Corporation in the amount not to exceed $3,500,000 for mailing services for the period 8/1/2018 through 7/31/2023.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, also heard in safety with a recommendation to adopt. There's an interesting waiver in here where we will waive the $100 IG contractor fee. We have periodically run into national organizations and corporations that will refuse to pay that, and we waive it when we get to that point.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, the ayes have it. The resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 2019-0042, confirming the county executive's appointment or reappointment of various mayors to serve on the Cuyahoga County Planning Commission.
Move to adopt. Council President, the recommended candidates represent the mayors of the planning regions and came before the committee, and I respectfully request our colleagues' support.
In favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, the ayes have it.
Resolution number 2019-0043, confirming the county executive's appointment or reappointment of various individuals to serve on the Cuyahoga Regional HIV Health Services Planning Council for various terms.
Move to adopt. Council President, the candidates before us, many of them made their appearance before the committee, and those who were not able to attend had someone speak on their behalf or submitted a letter. This is a 40-member body that satisfies the guidelines of the Ryan White Treatment Extension Act, and I respectfully request my colleagues' support.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, the ayes have it. Resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 2019-0044, confirming the county executive's appointment of various individuals to serve on the Commission on Human Rights for the term 3/1/2019 through 2/28/2021.
Council President, these candidates came before the Human Resource Appointment and Equity Committee as well. They are 3 attorneys, and they also fulfill the requirements of the legislation that was drafted for the Commission on Human Rights, and I respectfully request my colleagues' support.
In favor, say aye. Aye. Comment?
Comment, Mr. President?
Yes.
I'm not against any of the individuals or their backgrounds or anything of that nature, but the structure, the way it was put together with only lawyers being involved in regards to this, and so I will be not supporting them as individuals, but against this, and not be in favor of it as it goes forward. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. President.
Councilman Gelli.
I shared a little concern of that Mr. Sean had, but sitting in the committee and hearing the individuals, their background and expertise, I was duly impressed with each and every one of them. And it really kind of calms my concerns going forward that I think we have a very diverse group of individuals that will be leading this segment of the county forward. So I'll be supporting it.
Any further discussion? Councilwoman?
Yes, I too expressed some concern with the, not with the content, but with the organization and policy of how we are addressing with the 3-member panel. You know, I will support this because I believe in the committee process and you have vetted these individuals. But I will say I am still concerned about those small businesses coming in with no legal ability to be represented. And as I have always said, the person who turns the lights on at 8 in the morning is the same person that turns them off at 8 at night. And this could really be difficult for them, not really understanding what it is that we're doing here today. But like I said, I do respect the process, and I hope that these 3 individuals will understand the difficulties that small businesses go through and take that into consideration when issues come before them. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No?
Legislation is adopted.
Resolution number 2019-0046, making awards on requisition number 42655 to various providers in the total amount not to exceed $344,444 for Internet Service Provider and Distributed Denial of Service Security Services.
Move to adopt. Mr. President and colleagues, this resolution is a 5-year contract for $344,000 for Internet service and security services related to Internet service. The primary contract is with AT&T for $273,000, and there is also a contract with Verizon to provide $71,000 for backup on Internet service. This resolution was unanimously recommended for approval on second reading suspension by the Finance and Budgeting Committee. Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 2019-0047, authorizing an amendment to contract number CE 1600133 with Axon Enterprise, formerly known as Taser International, for Taser body cameras for the period 7/1/2016 through 6/30/2021, to extend the time period to 12/31/2023, to change the scope of services effective 1/1/2019, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $1,231,245.69.
Move to adopt. Second. Mr. President, this was heard in committee, and the recommendation is for adoption. This will provide an upgrade of the cameras and more body cameras for the, it says in the body of this, for the COs. It's actually for the sergeants, lieutenants, and corporals. We will have further discussions in the very, very near future with the sheriff regarding advancing more body cameras for the COs, who are the guys on the front line in the pods. So we would recommend moving this, and we will be back hopefully in the very near future for more cameras for the COs.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it. The resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 2019-0049, making an award on requisition number 42489 to the Metro Health System in the amount not to exceed $850,000 for comprehensive medical services for families involved with the Division of Children and Family Services for the period 1/1/2019 through 12/31/2019.
Second.
This legislation provides medical screenings, preventative follow-up health care, and psychiatric treatment for the children as well as their families that are involved with DCFS. This contract is 100% funded by the state allocation, state child protection allocation. I ask the council support this legislation.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, the ayes have it.
Resolution number 2019-0050, authorizing an amendment to a master agreement with various political subdivisions for community school-based Closing the Achievement Gap and American Program Services for the period 1/1/2018 through 12/31/2018, to extend the time period to 12/31/2019, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $511,800.
So this matter was heard in committee last week, and we discussed the effectiveness of the program, and what this actual resolution does is it had combined the different schools into a master agreement, which will now be easier to administer this, and this just amends it and adds additional funding for the staffing and other programming that's needed to continue the program.
Discussion, hearing none.
I'll add that the second reading under suspension is needed because there is an exposure field trip that's coming, and this will allow the school systems to have the dollars necessary to
All right, this is
perform
the
the trip.
CTAG program.
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it. The resolution is adopted. Committee report and consideration of an ordinance for second reading, adoption under suspension of the rules. Could I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, the ayes have it. The rules have been suspended.
Ordinance number 2017-0008, amending section 202.12 of the county code to modify the divisions and sections of the Department of Public Safety and Justice Services.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, this was heard in committee, and this is just a cleanup that lets everyone know that the arbitration was returned to the court. So that's, this takes their mission statement up to date.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it. The ordinance is adopted. Any miscellaneous committee reports?
Mr. President, my colleagues, Finance and Budget, will meet at our regular time this coming Monday, March 4th at 1 p.m. to discuss the one item on the legal services contract that was referred at today's council meeting. Thank you.
Mr. President, the Public Works Committee will meet at our regularly scheduled time on March the 6th, Wednesday morning. Thank you.
Safety, Tuesday, 1 o'clock.
Mr. President, the Economic Development will meet at 3 o'clock on Monday.
Health and Human Services on March 6th at 1.
Community Development will meet Monday, March 4th at 10 a.m. to deal with the item referred today.
Human Resource Appointment Equity Committee will meet on March 5th at 10 o'clock.
Right. Any other miscellaneous business before the council? Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned.